welcome back to another video on the channel. This is going to be a very in-depth video. And I'm actually going to be covering some more higher level agency type stuff. And as you can tell by the title, this video I'm going to be explaining what has literally made me over $200,000 up until this point, right? This year, literally $200,000, and I've really boiled it down to two things, and it's two things that every agency owner needs to have in order to run a successful agency, right? It's kind of the two things that the agency owner needs, and then the other things, obviously, because it's not just two things to run a successful agency, rather it's two things the agency owner needs to have, and then there's other things that they need to put in place in order to accommodate for the other things that they need to have as well, if that makes sense. So as I say, super excited for this video. I've got some slides to explain my points in deeper detail as well. Just before we jump into the video, guys, as always, make sure you go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, because I'm posting on here every other day, and it massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm. So with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So as I say, this made me $200,000 as an agency owner. And as I kind of mentioned, it really just kind of boils down into two skills. And those two skills is, first things first, the ability to focus on one specific task. And I'm actually going to be explaining what that one specific task is. It's not that like you need to focus on a specific task. It's like you need to focus on one certain thing. And as I say, I'm going to be explaining exactly what that is as an agency owner, the one thing that you need to be focusing on. And the second skill that's probably took you by surprise as an agency owner, the kind of, the couple things that you really need to make sure that you have. As I say, the second thing is copywriting skills. It's so powerful. And again, we're going to get into exactly why and how it's so powerful, and really how it's helped me, as the title states, generate over $200,000 this year alone up until this point, which is, I think we are July the 20th today. So super powerful stuff. Now, let's first of all, though, focus on the first section, the first skill, which is the ability to focus on one specific task. Now, first of all, this is an image that, first things first, I just want to make sure that you guys don't think that I created this, because I didn't. This thing that I've personally learned from Sam Ovens, okay? But it's very true, and it holds a lot of weight in kind of, as I mentioned, me being able to generate over multiple six figures this year alone up until this point. 13 units of energy. Okay, now you may have seen this, you may have not. If you've ever taken any of Sam's programs, you probably would have seen it. But this is basically the concept and the idea behind it, right? So you've got 13 units of energy to spend each day. Basically, if you spend 1 unit of energy on 13 different things, this is how your progress is going to look, exactly like this chart, this diagram, whatever you want to call it. That's how your progress is going to look, right? You spend 1 unit of energy on 13 different things, and basically you kind of don't get anywhere too far. Rather, you're just doing a lot of different things, and you're making basically you're making 1 inch on 13 different things. And so the way that you want to look at your agency is like this. Okay, so 13 units of energy, you've spent the same amount of energy, right? Spending the same amount of energy, you're spending the same amount of time working, whatever it is, but you're focusing on one thing, and that one thing now shoots straight up because you're spending so much time on it. Again, don't think that I made this, because I didn't. This was actually from Sam Ovens, right? But it's so true. Right? You don't want to be spending your time on 13 different things and making 1 inch of progress on 13 things. Rather, spend your time on one specific thing, right? And make 13 inches on that one specific thing in terms of progress. Okay. Now let's kind of tie it back in with running an agency and look at the logistics of this diagram and how it really does apply to running an agency. And this is what I'm trying to get at, right? So this is the same thing, right? 13 units of energy split into 13 different things. And for an agency, that could be outreach, client communication, ensuring each client is always testing new ideas, writing client ad copy, setting up client campaigns, monitoring client campaigns daily, scaling client campaigns, building processes for your agency as a whole, coming up with ad copy ideas for your clients, and even for yourself as well. Ensuring each client is generating maximum results, thinking of new outreach methods, coming up with new interest ideas to target in the Facebook platform, right? Ensuring the agency overall is just running smoothly. Now, this may seem over the top. You may be thinking, yeah, we're not actually going to spend this time, but guys, honestly, this is genuinely specific things that you need to make sure your agency is doing. And so, if you as the agency owner is focusing on all of these different things, that's how your progress is going to look, exactly like that diagram there. That's exactly how it's going to look. You're kind of doing, you're working so much, you're spending every single day, you're spending your 13 units of energy that you have to spend, but you're kind of not getting anywhere. You're not making any progress in one specific thing. You're not scaling the agency. You're not making more money. You're not making more profit, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. You're not getting there because you're not making any progress, because you're spending all of your time on 13 different things. That kind of leads to the question of, what should I be doing with my time? How should I kind of structure it in the best possible way? How should I structure my time in the most efficient way? What should I be doing? Well, this is it, okay? This is exactly what you should be doing as an agency owner. And this is exactly what I've been doing this year. Primarily, I've really tripled down on this and made sure that I'm following this diagram right here. And as I say, again, that's what's enabled me to make over multiple six figures to date, right? For this year, 2020. It's the same diagram as the one before, right? So it's the same diagram as this one, in terms of 13 units of energy being spent on one thing. Now, if we're looking at things logistically, you know, as an agency owner, you can't physically focus on one certain thing. Rather, you focus on, like this example right here, 3 things, but it all fuels the same end goal, right? It all ties together to fuel the same end goal. Okay, so the number one thing that you should be focusing on as an agency owner is client acquisition. Now, client acquisition naturally encompasses lead generation plus sales, right? So generating leads through outreach, through inbound lead generation processes, and then selling those clients. And then, you know, once you kind of couple those two together, you do both of them right, lead generation plus sales, you do it right, you get a client acquisition, right? That's the first thing. Now, the other 2 sections here that you can see, on the left-hand side, you've got team building. On the right, you've got building systems. Now, both of those things still fuel the idea of client acquisition. And this is why this is so important to make sure that you're adopting in your agency, because it focuses and it fuels one idea, which means that you're able to scale your agency. You know, basically, you're able to make 13 inches of progress every single day rather than 1 inch of progress in a multitude of different things. Now, team building. This, you know, you might be thinking, how does this help client acquisition? How does this help scaling your agency? Well, as you can see in this graph right here, there's nothing spoken about service delivery. Now, you can't just focus on client acquisition and not deliver on the service you're selling them, right? Because then you're going to be spinning your wheels every single month. You know, yeah, you may sign a client, but then they're going to leave you 1 month later because there's no results. So obviously you don't want that to happen. You need to be making sure that you're delivering on the highest possible level for your clients so that they stay with you for 6, 12, 18, 24 months, whatever it is. So the way that you kind of combat that issue is by building a team around service delivery, by bringing on a, you know, one media buyer that's an expert at delivering results in the e-commerce niche. Obviously, majority of you watching this channel, if not all of you, are in the e-commerce niche, and that's what I'm personally in. That's why I don't talk about lead generation, because quite frankly, I do not know how to get a dental client, right? For service delivery for the e-commerce niche, you want to build a team. When you're starting, it's just literally one person, one team member, a media buyer who specializes in delivering results. Now, there is a process. There is certain things that you need to be making sure that you're implementing in your team building. That's why I put this as one thing that you need to focus on, because building a team is super vital to the, you know, basically the success of your agency. The next thing is building systems. So this is super important as well, because, you know, maybe not getting to 6 figures, it's honestly not that important. Yes, you can build an onboarding process. Yes, you know, there's a couple other things that you can do, but building systems to get to 6 figures isn't too crazy important. Building systems to get to multiple 6 figures and 7 figures is vital. You literally won't be able to get to that point without building systems. Now, this video is kind of based around how I've literally made 6 figures this year up until this point from my agency. And this basically right here, this diagram is everything. This is exactly what I focused on this year, and it's exactly what's gotten me the results that I've gotten, right? So building systems can literally consist of, at least for me, if I'm looking at my agency, building systems consists of onboarding. Obviously, it encompasses VSLs and paid traffic, right? So generating inbound leads. And obviously VSL standing for video sales letters. So that's where we drive paid traffic to a VSL. And then from there, basically the client comes and books in a call, and it's all kind of automated. And that's the stuff that I go through in my higher level program, because as I mentioned, you just don't need that type of stuff to get to 6 figures. It's very easy to get to 6 figures. To get to 7 figures, you really need this stuff, right? And another system is, inbound leads, right? Generating inbound leads, not from paid traffic, but through Facebook. That's a system in and of itself, because you're consistently generating inbound leads. Literally 2 days ago, today's the 20th, I think it was around the 17th or the 18th, I signed a 4.5k funnel build, right? Just a super basic like lead generation funnel for a client, and they actually came through Facebook, right? And it's that whole thing of generating inbound leads through Facebook that I speak about on this channel. I speak about it in my program. Obviously, you guys in the program, I've got the exact step-by-step process on how to do that. But as I say, that in and of itself is a system. So honestly, if you're an agency owner, this is all you should be focusing on. Now, let's look at the second skill, okay, which is copywriting. Now, as I mentioned, this is probably something that kind of took majority of you maybe by surprise. Like, why, as an agency owner, do you need to focus on copywriting? Like, what, you know, if you bring a media buyer on board, and they're handling clients, client ads, running them client ads, and kind of handling the service delivery aspect of your agency, then why do you need to focus on copywriting? Why do you need to be efficient and effective at copywriting? Well, I've answered this right here for you. Why do we need copywriting? So taking everything I just mentioned into account, right? Given that you should be only focusing on lead generation / systems / building predictable processes to generate new clients, then copywriting is actually a must-have skill, right? So outreach, copywriting. Outreach is copywriting. If you're in the e-commerce niche, then we're not doing cold calls because they just don't work, right? If you're in the e-commerce niche, it's email outreach. That's honestly it's the best outreach method that just routinely works every single time. But to do email outreach is copywriting, right? Even if you're sending Loom videos, the way that you structure your Loom videos is still copywriting. You're still taking people through a sales process, right? And then a slightly higher level, for example, VSL / funnels. It's copywriting once again. I'm literally in the process right now of building 2 new funnels for myself, one for the education side, one for the agency, and obviously VSLs for each as well. And everything from the funnels themselves, from the the opt-ins and all that type of stuff, to the VSLs themselves, the video sales letters, right? Or the case studies, some people call them. From that to the emails in the back end, the email marketing in the back end, it's all copywriting. That's all it is. There's really nothing else to it other than making it look aesthetically pleasing, but it's all copywriting. It's absolutely vital that you have that as a skill as an agency owner. And even, like I say, generating inbound leads through Facebook, it's copywriting once again. I get so many comments on the physical posts themselves, and people messaging me directly saying how good my copywriting is, and saying how like they just love reading my posts because the copywriting basically hooks them in. And it's a must-have skill for agency owners, right? And look, I'm not gonna go through kind of how to do copywriting and all that type of stuff. I did post a video 2 weeks ago, and you can see right here, SMMA plus David Ogilvy. Now, for those of you who do not know, David Ogilvy is he's basically coined as the grandfather or the godfather, I think he's the grandfather actually, of copywriting and of advertising as a whole. So I basically, in this video, as I say, go through how he can relate to SMMA and how you should really take advantage of his books and whatnot. So as I say, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about copywriting, go ahead and check out that video. And yeah, guys, as I say, this video really broke down exactly how I've made 6 figures this year up until this point alone. And the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway that I do want you to take away from this video is, copywriting, you really need to make sure that you've got that down pat, because it will help you. But this right here, okay, is the one thing that I want you to take away from this video, because this right here is what genuinely got me to multiple 6 figures this year, right? Already 200K. This is basically it. Without this, if you're still like this in your agency, if you're doing all these different things, it doesn't matter, put it this way, it doesn't matter how good your copywriting is if you're doing all these things in your agency. Like, it literally does not matter, because you're just focusing on the wrong things, and it just, as an agency owner, it just doesn't matter, right? This right here, I want you to literally screenshot this screen right here and implement it and look at it every single day, and ensure that every single action you're taking per day on your agency, everything that you're doing, is following this diagram, because this will get you to 6 figures. Like, 6 figures isn't even a question if you're focusing on these things. This will get you to multiple 6 figures and the 7-figure level. Like, honestly, I'm just saying that this is what I'm focusing on right now to get to the 7-figure level, 83,000 a month. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Slightly different, slightly more higher level kind of concepts and whatnot, but I still hope it's applicable to your own agency. And yeah, with that being said, if you did enjoy, make sure you go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.